Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and this is part 2 of my reviews from the comics I picked up from July 21st, 2021. Hope everybody is having a good night. It's getting later in the evening, so maybe you're all asleep by now. First up from DC, we got Supergirl number 2, Woman of Tomorrow. One thing I will warn is this is a long read. I think it took me like 35 minutes, something like that. I kind of had to put it down. Now, that is not to say it is a bad read. I mean, it's a read. It's very wordy, but the art is stellar. I love the art in this book. It is the same art on the cover. So I mean, it's not like I mean, that's the art you're getting. It is picking up right where we left off, and they are continuing their journey. Supergirl, and I'm drawing a blank at her name, but the girl that's along the journey, they're on this. It's like a kind of like it's a spaceship, but it's kind of like an economy version, because right here you can see it's like all kind of different aliens and stuff. This is coming off the events of Supergirl celebrating her birthday, and she went to some planet with Krypto. It was away from a yellow sun or a red sun, so she wasn't powered up. She ends up meeting this bad guy, and he ends up like basically killing Krypto and wounding Supergirl pretty badly. And she wakes up, and this girl that was kind of present at the situation and has ties with the bad guy, they kind of, you know, the little girl, she hires Supergirl to continue on the journey. The whole story is told from this little girl's eyes, and she kind of makes different references about like, this is why she's putting this part in the story, or you know, that's why she's adding this part. It's basically just going into more, and I'm just kind of showing random art, but it's going into more of her interaction of getting to know just Supergirl and the woman without the powers. There is a really badass part in this story where they come across this mega space dragon, you know, like Galactus size, and the shuttle is like, I know you're Supergirl, can you help out? And she's like, I don't really have my powers, and she kind of tells the whole story. She does go back on the ship, and she asks like everybody on the ship if anybody has some red kryptonite, and someone up does. He has like a legal version of it, and she takes it and kind of tells everybody that, you know, different parts of space, it reacts different to her. And right here she has like, she kind of morphs into this like phoenix, like she catches on fire, and then she just, I mean, she decimates the dragon and saves everybody, and they continue on with their journey. I can say the pacing was a little slow because it is very wordy, but I mean, overall the story, it's a really like well thought out, you know. I mean, all the parts from the little girl you're reading, it's really like, you know, hearing her version of this story as if it were in real life, like someone sitting in front of you and having coffee, and them explaining this whole amazing journey that they got to spend with Supergirl. They do go into the backstory and how, sadly to say, but how Krypto was killed, the effort and everything that Supergirl put into to try and save Krypto and everything, and now the pact that she has made with the girl going forward to avenge Krypto and kind of go get this guy. And that's where we're going to leave it off at that one. A great read, man. Next up from Boom Studios, this is 1 of 6. This is Dark Blood, and I'm so glad I picked this up, and we're going to get there. But I almost passed on this. I had heard a little bit about it, and man, they did not do this book justice. It's a really good read. I will say at one point that this book is definitely not for everybody. It's gonna punch you in the face. One scene specifically, but it's having to do a lot with racism, and man, they got it pretty good. You know, it's setting up in this diner. I will say the story was very well. I mean, it's a very fast read, but I mean, you talk about packing in so much in such a quick read. I mean, really good job. But don't remember his name, but we're following this guy, and he's getting off of work basically. He's being followed by somebody. They go into like kind of his backstory that he was in the Air Force or in the Army. I think he was in the Army, and he just they go back and forth. They show you that he was in the Army, that he was I don't know how to put it, but anyways, they go back and forward, and we do find out that this guy followed him. They know each other from the Army, and this is where the racism thing kind of kicks in butt, because this guy has this whole speech here about how in the Army, that this African American got to go places, do things, and he kind of got a big head because of the Army or something like that. And back in like white America, it's a different story, and so he's basically going to teach him a lesson. And his lesson, I mean, it just looks like he's going to shoot and kill him, and that's his lesson. I don't get, but little did we know, and somewhere over here, I want to say right here, that this panel right here, I'm not really going to let you zoom in, but yeah, there's some there's some language in this book. But going forward, we found out that Mr. Army Badass here, it looks like they were doing, it might be like government testing or something, and he has powers, and they look like telekinesis because he's moving objects with his mind. He's slowing down bullets. And he's basically not going to let people walk over him. He didn't want to hurt the guy. He wasn't trying to incite anything. And he even tries to give the guy many warnings, and he still, even though he could have hurt him, he doesn't. And the guy ends up running off, and he ends up getting hit by a car, like, as soon as he runs off. And, the African American guy runs over, he instantly tries to go help the guy that just got hit. And right off the bat, the next guy is just like, black guy, you're the, and it's just the bigotry that we kind of see a lot of here in America. Now, I know overseas it's not the same, but sad to say, racism, it's still around. But they do go back into a little more of his Army backstory, and it looks like they're trying to explain how he got his powers, because he's trying to survive during. I don't think they go in specifics of what war. They don't even really go into specifics of what year. They do give reference, like 6 months, 10 years, but they never actually say a date or anything. Could be World War II, could be World War I. We don't know. We do see this right here. It's right after those like flashbacks or whatever. But that's it in a nutshell. I would say there's spoilers, but that's a whole comic that I just summed up in a couple minutes. Let's go with the next one, Dark Horse, Tales from Harrow County, #1, Colin Bunn. I wish I would have known a little more about this. I didn't know this, but Harrow County is a huge comic, because when you get to the end of this reading, I did not know Harrow County was a huge comic, but like an ongoing comic. But right here they give you like, there's omnibuses, and it just shows how little I know about everything. But I went for this book because I like the cover. It sounds creepy. I heard a little bit about it. I did enjoy it. It is a Tales from. I don't think it's specifically like, if you've read this series, you might see characters, but I think it's more of like it's set in that world kind of thing. And I'll get to it, because it's just setting up, and right off the first page I was like, yeah, I was into the book already. I was like, ooh, some monsters, some kind of, medieval looking thing going on. And it just starts out with a girl that's for some reason leaving or being forced out of this village. She's going along with their monster friend, and it was like a town of monsters or something like that. So she's leaving with her monster friend, and the person that's telling the story is this girl, and she's up in a tree, and she's she's recollecting about this, so we're seeing the memory part of it, but she's telling a story about how her friend left, about how she doesn't understand why she didn't leave with her, why her friend didn't look back. You know, one of those type of situations, and we've had a lot of those, right? I know I have. But you know, just regrets in general. Anyways, it goes forward, and we're in the present, and this girl is telling, you know, it's her girlfriend, and she's telling her the story about this friend that she had when she was younger, and this girl's like, man, I've lived here my whole life, and how come I don't remember this person? And the girl, and I think her name is Bae, but Bae tells her girlfriend that, you know, well, that's, you don't remember anything because I cast magic and did this ritual, and I erased everybody's memories of her except the fact that she was a girl that was from Harrow County. So she gets more into the story about how Bae's later on in life, and she wants to like track down the friend that left and stuff. And for some reason, the girlfriend takes offense to it, and she takes off. So Bae gets ready on her journey, and she gathers up like spells and incantations and charms, and she doesn't know a lot about the I guess the outside of Harrow County, because she goes into this, you know, that she has heard fairy tales and read books and stuff like that about the outside, and she knows how to travel, but she hasn't done it yet. And they do show her right here, and she's like, I mean, she waits days in the same spot so she can step in puddles as she walks. And she kind of explains it's because like goblins and fairies and all that stuff do exist, and they have like nests under your feet if it's not wet or something like that. She does like find an entrance to something, you know, it's this toadstool, and it kind of exuberates the cover. I'm glad, I love when I get covers that actually, you know, tie into what's going on with the book. We do find here that her girlfriend shows up, and she kind of apologized for running off so fast. We do see that Bae was right, and she opens this, you know, she sets down an apple in those toadstools, and you know, this fairy goblin thing comes out of it, and she tells her, hey, you've made the deal, you know, what would you like? And she tells the fairy goblin that she wants to find her long lost friend, and the fairy goblin's like, all right, we made the deal, you know, let's go. She asks her girlfriend if she wants to go along with her, and her girlfriend says yeah, you know, and the goblin fairy says, okay, once we go down here, that's it, you know, y'all made your decision, let's move, you know. And so they just trekking through Goblin Fairy Town. I don't know if that's the name. I think they do have a name for it. The Fair Folk Dwell, or the, you know, that's basically what all these creatures and monsters, and they call them fair folk. But they do show you as they go along. There's all kind of different. You know, there's like that fire guy down there. Some goblins. Some, you know, there's some big creatures, some lizards and stuff. So that's all cool. But he does lead her down here, and he leads her to this, and he's like, ha, there's your friend, you know. And that's kind of where the book leaves off. So I don't know if that's the end of the story and it's going to continue past that, or that's just it. But we'll find out, because I will pick up part 2. It was a very quick read, but very interesting. I don't know anything about Harrow County, and for me not knowing that world or anything, it did a really good job of painting a picture of that lore, the world. Next up, we got from Marvel, Alien #5. With Alpha Xenomorph on the cover. Man, what a great read, man. Philip Kennedy Johnson and Salvador Lauca. I know I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. No disrespect at all. But such a great read. They're doing such a good job. Marvel and Fox with this merge. Both Alien reads that I've read recently, they've been really good. This is picking up right where the last one left off, and I'm drawing a blank at his name, but Cruz is right there, and he's battling the Bull Alpha Alien. I will say that I love this new look of the Xenomorph, the Alpha creation, kind of like a king, you know, a variation of the Xenomorph. They just show him, and this thing is pursuing him to the ship, and he's trying to get away from it, and he's just backing off. He's also carrying his son, who is infected with the face hugger. You know, he has a chest burster growing inside him. He's trying to get his son back to the ship for two reasons, because he needs the specimen for the Weyland-Yutani group, and he also needs to keep the son alive more so. But that's kind of the reason why he's trying to make it back to the ship. But the alien Alpha, he's after him. We do show other things. These the new like queen whatever, and they kind of show over here. They haven't really named her yet, but she's bigger than a regular queen, or a mix of different queens. We haven't got that far yet. But I do love these like bull looking. I don't know what, but that's one of the things I do love about the Xenomorph universe, is there's not just one version of a Xenomorph. There's many different depending on the host, and it's pretty cool to see the different variations. We do get a lot of back and forth of Bishop, and he's talking to the woman that was with his son when they got abducted, and Bishop is going into a lot of the backstory on why Cruz is so important, how he lost his other son, how he's so connected to the Weyland-Yutani group. He kind of, he's talking to this girl, and this girl's like, yeah, man, I know all about him. I hacked the Weyland-Yutani computer, and I know everything. And she tells him what he knows, and he's like, that's not, everything. Like, that much, but there's really, like, this guy is that important to the Weyland-Yutani group because he has just been there through some major milestones. This alpha, creature xenomorph came from him. It was a burster specimen, and the first one that Weyland-Yutani ever got their hands on. So he's kind of crucial, piece to who Weyland-Yutani is, the company. The whole time all this is going on, he's, the Bull, and we're just going to call him Bull King. But Bull King is after this guy, or Alpha. Let's just call him Alpha. I think that's what he is called. But I like Bull King too because he looks like a Bull King. But eventually, Cruz with the son, he does get in there, and I know his son's name is Danny. But they eventually get to a spot where they are a little secure. At the same time, Bishop and the girl, they are making it to the ship that is their escape route. Somehow, Cruz and Danny, they end up making it at the same time. He ends up exploding the compartment, that the aliens were chasing him on, to make sure that they could get on the ship and dock away without the aliens following them. They get on there and they get more into... They find out that the ship is not as secure as it was, and the cryo chamber that they were hoping to put Danny in is destroyed. They will not be able to keep the specimen. Well, they will be able to keep it alive, but they'll have to be like worried about their lives. But at the same time, they won't be able to keep Danny alive. At the same time, we kind of find out that that the girl is like a backstabber, and that she's working for like the Weyland-Yutani company as well, like a secret hidden cell, and she ends up like taking out Bishop and shooting Cruz, but I don't know if Cruz is dead because he got shot in the shoulder, and I think he's just knocked out. But they do show her grabbing Danny, and with the specimen inside, looks like Weyland-Yutani is on their way to get another specimen. Mission done, super secret agent chick, I don't know. Sorry, getting a little dry, all the different voices. Last but not least, but the mini deaths of Laila Starr. Boom. This is number 4. Ram V, Felipe. Every issue so far. It's been a great read, and we have, I think, one more issue left. I think this is 4 out of 5, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. I've heard a lot of different comparisons. I don't think it's like that at all. I do know some of these other, I haven't read them specifically, but it's just, to me, it's just different. Another thing I would like to say that, I always say the art's really good, the writing, pacing, stuff like that. The colors in this issue specifically were popping. And I'm going to go through and show you the art like I normally do. But we are on Laila Starr's 3rd resurrection, I think it is. She's basically like she is sent to this location. It doesn't really give the backstory why, but she's here and she runs into like a Chinese temple and she's looking for someone. She is able to talk to all different kind of different inanimate objects, and for some reason, like in the last issue, she was talking with a cigarette. This one, it is this, it is like I want to say painting of, it's because I think this is a Buddhist temple for I think it's a Buddhist temple. I think so. I don't remember, but yeah, it is Mandarin and Chinese specifically, but without going too specific because they really don't. But I think it's a Buddhist temple that she's stopping in at. She's having a conversation with the painting, and the painting starts telling her the story like, he's happy to meet her and he's happy to have somebody to talk to, but at the same time, he goes in and telling the story about how he's the last, Buddhist temple there where they are, and I think they're somewhere still in India. But he tells the story about how Wayne, and they show Wei up here, about how Wayne, took care of this temple. He was always like the first guy that was on the block, and he swept the temple and took care of it and really kept the upkeep, always kept the doors open for people to come into the temple. And the painting, in the temple, because it's supposed to be a representation of the god, but he's really just doing a major shout out for this guy Wei, and at the end of it he's like, she's like, well, hey, I'm looking for this place, and she kind of points to upstairs, and they show her like right here doing it, but and he's like, oh yeah, that's right up the block. No, you want to take that route, go that route. Hey, and along the way, can you stop and check in on Wade? Man, I love that guy, man. Can you check on that boy? He's at this door, and you're gonna pass it along the way. So she goes along her merry way, and she does find the location that she was looking for, and of course it's and I think his name is Darius. It is the man that the whole story is based on. If you are new to this story, I have not filled you in, but Laila Starr is actually the metaphorication of death. She is the Grim Reaper from the Hindu, mythos, and she has been put out of business because Darius, a child, would come along, and there was a prophecy that he would, create immortality somehow, some way. Since she was put out of the job, this whole comic has been her kind of dealing with that realization that not only is he going to create immortality for everybody and everything, but that basically she's out of a job and she doesn't know what to do now, and so she's given access to jump inside a body and be a human for a little bit, and that's kind of what the story is in a nutshell. In the very beginning, she has an option to go meet him as a kid, and she kind of does what everybody thinks. Well, I'll just kill the kid, and not everybody, but and that doesn't go the way, she can't do it. It's a little baby, but she has met this kid 3 times during the journey, and we come to find out that it really did play a part. He does remember her the whole time, ever since the first really meetup when he was a kid, and he goes into acknowledging that she's looked the same over the years, that at first it didn't connect, but after like the last meeting it really did. Not only that, but every time she has shown up, the death has followed, and they have been major parts of his life. It kind of goes into this whole representation that she is the reason why he is going to somehow invent immortality. He gets pissed. He gets into this whole rage, and if it wasn't for his son entering the room, he might have been another death of Laila Starr. But he gets mad for a lot of different reasons, and real reasons, and not dumb reasons. He gets mad for the girl that she is, for the host of the body that she's in, the real Laila Starr, because she was a person and she died so this god could have a body. And there's a lot of things that go into it. They go into the immortality side of it, the death, the morality behind it. What he's had to do, the people that she took, and recently he lost someone and he's blaming it on Laila again because she is the personification of death. She tries to explain that, that she hasn't been doing that recently, and that, and she kind of takes off. The son enters the room, and she she leaves and kind of gets scared and stuff, And she runs off and she goes back to the temple, and it's a massive storm, it's raining. As she's leaving to the temple, we do see what happened to Mr. Way and why he hasn't been around the temple as much lately, and it's because he passed away. And just like, Darius had said, wherever she goes, death does follow. She does end up staying in the temple on request of the painting. Sure enough, the temple ends up being, decimated after the flood. She supposedly does not survive the flood. We find out that was another death of Laila Starr. She died in that temple where she slept that night when the flood, killed the building. We do see that she is resurrected one more time, and that she is here with and I think that's his name, but Harishnu, and we see Agani and some of the other Hindu gods. And they are talking to her and telling her, man, it's been crazy. Everybody's kind of mad at you upstairs. And she's all like, man, it just seems like, it was me that is the reason that he's going to create immortality. And Vishnu is like, I don't think so, because his timer is running out and he hasn't done it yet. So we got one more issue to go. Is it going to be a twist ending where, this whole thing was a mockery where he doesn't even do the immortality? Or is he going to do it and it has something real, based on her human tale of the story? I don't know. But that's all the comics I got for now. I got a little more stack. I will like to say I picked up this, and this looks like another kind of like Bad Press or something like that. It's from Asylum Press, and it says some vampire macabre comics are coming, and they're shipping out in September. It was like this as a poster, and it said this is going to be cover B, and that is cover A, and it says it's shipping out on September 21st. Says you can check it out at asylumpress.com or something like that, or check with your local LCS, because it seems like they are comics. But I really do like that cover B, the Alex Chow. I think that's pretty cool. But like, comment, subscribe. There will be time codes so y'all can skip. I know I'll put that at the end. That's kind of dumb. But anyways, I'll be back. Hope y'all have a good one. Evil out!